Door chimes, In Comes Company. The revival of Company is up for several Tonys this year. The musical stars Patti LuPone, Katrina Link, and Matt Doyle, who's nominated for a Tony this year. Let's check back in with Paul Wontorek.
That's right, Tamsin. Before wowing audiences in Company, he built an incredible resume. Today, I'm walking through the career of Matt Doyle with Mr. Matt Doyle. How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
You're on Broadway. You're still in
Broadway.
Company.
I'm still in Company.
It's a long gig.
It's a very, very long gig. It's been about 2.5 years since I first booked this job, so I am so thrilled to still be working.
But now you're in the time of award nominations.
Yes.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's been a good season so far.
It's a good time for Matt Doyle and Matt Doyle fans. So we are at Lincoln Center.
Yes,
This is the Vivian Beaumont
My
Theater.
favorite theater in New York.
Is it?
Yes, this is my favorite theater in New York.
This is your favorite theater in New York.
So it was such a thrill to be able to do Warhorse here, which was a very, very different show for me. I did a play instead of a musical.
Big play.
It was the most incredible experience because I got to meet Marianne Elliott, who's the director of Company.
Right.
And I got to work with the most remarkable puppets, I think, in the world, which were the horses in Warhorse and the geese and all of these other things that we were puppeteering. And it was just, you know, with all of the musicals I've done, I don't think I've done a spectacular on that level in terms of the production. It was massive.
Right.
And to do it in this theater on a thrust stage like that in the Vivian Beaumont was so, so special.
It was such a experience for the audience.
Yes.
To experience these puppeteers creating these horses. But for you, you saw the technical behind it, so were you removed from that, or were you still able to sort of get lost in it?
Very attached to them. I remember being devastated leaving the show, leaving the puppets, and having an emotional connection to them and writing them every night. It sounds so ridiculous that this thing made of twine and wood would have such an emotional effect on me, but I was so sad to leave them, as if I was losing a pet. It was really, really strange.
And you were Billy?
I was Billy Narracott. I was like the bad guy in this. I was like the little jerk who was so mean to his cousin and then died very, very dramatically. Shot in the head. Affected my hearing on this side.
Really?
Yes, because of the gunshots every night. So don't say you don't sacrifice part of yourself for theater.
The other thing that's unique about this theater is it's nowhere near the rest of Broadway.
No, it is very far away. We've got a bit of a journey to get to the other theaters.
Yeah, so we're gonna head downtown to the theater district.
Yes.
This is on the upper end of the theater district, and we're gonna talk some more. So let's do that. Hey, look. It's the Stephen Sondheim Theater.
The Stephen Sondheim, previously known as the Henry Hudson Theater.
Right.
We were the first show reopening this theater.
That's right. It was like a renovation project, huge renovation project.
Doing Bye Bye Birdie, the revival of Bye
Birdie.
Birdie. It was a wonderful cast. I got to work with John Stamos and Gina Gershon, and we had the time of our lives. It might not have been a hit, but we were having
it's like it should have been a hit, but it wasn't.
I know, it was a short-lived run, but we were so close backstage. I felt really taken care of there and learned a lot of really great lessons from everyone.
And you were Hugo.
I was Hugo Peabody.
And you got to sing the telephone hour.
I got to sing the telephone hour, and I got to sing a bit of One Boy as well. They gave me a couple verses to that as well. It was so wholesome and fun, and coming off of Spring Awakening at the time, it was one that my family could actually come to. My grandparents were like, "We get to see you in something," and
something
so they
very
had the time of their
Broadway.
life. Yes, it was
Bye
very
Bye
Broadway.
Birdie.
Yes.
Can't get more Broadway than that.
Oh, it's like still to this day my grandmother's favorite show that I've done.
So Matt, this is a very important theater in your history, actually. Let's start with the fact that you made your Broadway debut right here, and you probably walked through that door.
I did. That was the first.
Became a Broadway star.
This is the first stage door I walked through. 19 years old, and got the call that I was being added into the company of Spring Awakening, and it was a big hit at the time already. It was March right after they had opened, and I spent 2 years of my life in this theater doing the run of that entire show, and it was a learning experience. It was, I was thrust into this phenomenon, and I grew up so much during that process and learned so much about who I was as a performer, and learned how to be a professional actor because it was my first professional gig.
Yeah.
It was a really, really incredible ride and launched my entire career.
You had a good look back then.
I did.
You had a look.
I had a look. I had shaggy hair. I was rail thin. I think I weighed 120 pounds when I was cast in the show. I was such a little kid when I was cast, and I look at pictures now and I'm like, I was Bambi. I mean, literally Bambi. I'm afraid for that person walking down the street. They made sure that I really became a leading man while I was here. I had to cover one, and I had to cover one of the best, which is Jonathan Groff. He was such a great role model to have at that age.
And then you got to return
I got
here
to return.
and a leading role in the Book of Mormon,
And
Elder Price.
I took over Leah Michelle's dressing room. I returned here, and I was 25 years old when I was cast in that part, and just got to sing in the rafters every night, 8 times a week, and it was a perfect showcase for, I think, my voice at the time, and also just getting to try out my comedic chops in a leading role at the time was really, really fun. It's really, this theater out of all the theaters feels like home to me. I know that. I know every inch of this theater, every dust bunny in this theater.
Yeah. Okay, Matt, we're at the Jacobs.
Yes.
We're ending our tour here. This is your home.
This
is
my home right now.
Away from
my
home.
dressing room is right next to that O up there, and
oh, fun fact.
I know.
Right next to the O.
That's
okay.
right next to the O, and it has been my home for a very long time. It sat there all throughout the pandemic and untouched. I mean, I came back and we had to like dust everything off.
Phone rings, door chimes, in comes company.
I'm so jealous because I love this music so much,
Yeah.
and it's so amazing that you get to sort of live in it every night.
Yeah.
And of course, the great Stephen Sondheim, we lost him
Yes.
during this run. I mean,
Yeah.
he was in the theater just a few days prior.
Just a few
to
days
stuff.
prior,
Yeah.
He was giving us notes just a couple nights before, and I did not anticipate that chapter of this journey. I don't think any of us did. I was just so happy that Steve got a chance to come back and see this production and see all the work that we had done, giving a standing ovation to literally every number. He was always the best audience member. So he is the best audience member that this, the Jacobs has had and that this run has had for sure. I was always just so thrilled to see how much he just enjoyed watching his music and his work grow. And he didn't want his shows to become museum pieces.
Right. And that's what's so exciting.
Yeah.
And that really leads to this production
Yes.
of Company. It was the quintessential 70s swinging bachelor musical.
Oh, yeah.
And now Bobby is the fabulous Katrina Lenk, female Bobby.
Yep.
And you are Jamie,
Yes.
who used to be Amy.
Yes.
And Amy was a female frazzled bride.
And now I'm a gay male frazzled groom.
Yes.
And Jamie kind of feels like the culmination of everything in my career and everything I am and everything I've ever wanted to bring to the stage. And I'm so proud to be able to tell this story, especially right now when we're in this time where things really do feel like they're starting to regress a bit, to be able to just represent a character that so many people can identify with and so many new audiences can identify with.
And it's fantastic to get to not only get a fantastic role on Broadway,
Yes.
but also
Yes.
get to do something that means
Absolutely.
something
I just
in
think
your
about the
personal life.
kid that I was growing up and what he would have thought being able to see a couple like this in a classic Sondheim musical.